May we all please stand and let us pray to be led to us by Miss Krisa. Amen. So thank you for that. May you all please remain standing because for now, we are going to have our energizer. This energizer will serve as your awakening for us, for you to be active in our lesson. Okay, you will just have to follow me, class. Okay, I'm going to show it to you once, and you will have to follow me. It was just like this. I'm awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic. I'm awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic. Okay, class, did you get it? Okay, so we will just have to do it twice, okay? And we're going to make it faster. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. I'm awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic. I'm awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic. I'm awake, alert, alive. I'm awake, alert, alive. I'm awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic. Okay, one more time. Okay, one more time. I'm awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic. I'm awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic. I'm awake, alert, alive. I'm awake, alert, alive. I'm awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic. Okay, class, thank you for your cooperation and please be seated. Okay, so your attendance for later on, I'm going to pass a paper and you will just have to write your name and affix your signature opposite to your name. Okay, so now I am going to discuss to you first our classroom rules before I'm going to start discussing. Okay, for our number one classroom rules, I just want you to be attentive. Okay, you may raise hand if you want to recite or if you want to go out, and avoid chit chatting with your seatmate because for you to able to understand our lesson, so that when I ask you, you will be able to answer it correctly. Okay, and lastly, do not answer in chorus. Okay, that is why I'm telling you that you just have to raise your hand if you want to recite. Okay, class. Now, I am going to introduce to you our new topic entitled Odyssey. Who among you knows the story Odyssey? Anyone? Or do you have any idea about what Odyssey is? Okay, so I am going to discuss to you what Odyssey first. So Odyssey is written by Homer. This is all about a long journey home of our main character to go home in his kingdom Ithaca. So Odyssey has 24 books. That is why our discussion later on will start in the middle of things, because if I am going to discuss the whole 24 books to you, we will be able to finish it at 2 months maybe. Okay, that is why I am going to summarize it to you. But before that, I'm going to play a video here for you to have a short overview of our lesson titled Odyssey.
On Mount Olympus, the gods were debating whether Odysseus should return home. Eventually, Zeus decides Odysseus should return. So he sends Hermes, the messenger god, to tell Calypso to set Odysseus free, while the goddess Athena goes to Odysseus' son Telemachus to help him find out what happened to his father, because he and his mother's palace is being overrun with suitors after their fortune. Athena, in disguise, convinces him to go to Nestor, who fought with Odysseus in the Trojan War. But he does not know what happened to him. He suggests to go to Menelaus, who knows that Odysseus is stranded with Calypso. Meanwhile, Hermes travels to Calypso's island, and she agrees to let Odysseus go. So he sets sail on a small raft, but it is destroyed during a storm created by Poseidon, the god of the sea. Eventually, he washes up on the shore of the Phaeacians, who welcome him and declare a holiday in his honor. Odysseus proves his strength by throwing a discus farther than anyone else. Then, King Alcinous asks him who he is, so Odysseus starts his story. After leaving Troy, Odysseus and his men attacked a city, but reinforcements arrive and they had to flee. Then they came upon the Lotus Eaters, where many of his men ate a strange plant and lost all desire to go home. But Odysseus dragged them away, only to land on the Cyclopes island, where they were locked in Polyphemus, the Cyclops' cave. But Odysseus blinded him and tricked him into moving the boulder blocking the exit. After sailing more, they came upon the Keeper of the Winds, who gave Odysseus a bag of wind to blow them back to Ithaca. But his men opened it, and it blew them the wrong way, where they landed on the giant Laestrygonians, who threw boulders at Odysseus' ship, killing many of his men. They escaped, and came to the witch Circe, who turned Odysseus' men into pigs. Then told him to go to the underworld and find a prophet. In the underworld, Odysseus talked to Tiresias, the prophet, who tells him the path to Ithaca. Then they passed the Sirens, who lure sailors to crash on their rocks, but Odysseus' men tied him to the mast of the ship. Once they passed the Sirens, they came upon the whirlpool Charybdis. To avoid it, they passed Scylla, a six-headed monster who ate 6 of Odysseus' men. Next, they came to the island of the sun, where Odysseus' men sacrificed the sun's sacred cattle, and the ship was destroyed, leaving Odysseus as the sole survivor to wash up on Calypso's island. When Alcinous hears Odysseus' story, he gives him a ship and sends him back to Ithaca. When he gets there, Odysseus wants to make sure that everyone is still loyal to him after being gone for 20 years. So Athena gives him a disguise as a beggar. He then meets his swineherd Eumaeus, who welcomes Odysseus, not knowing who he is. Telemachus returns to Ithaca and Odysseus reveals himself to his son. They then plan to kill the suitors. The next day there is a contest to string Odysseus' bow and send an arrow through 12 axes. Out of all the suitors, Odysseus is the only one who can do it. Then, as Antinous, the leader of the suitors, is taking a drink, Odysseus shoots an arrow at him and kills him. Odysseus and Telemachus battle with all the suitors and kill them. After all the suitors are gone, Penelope, Odysseus' wife, tests him to make sure that it's him. Then she truly believes him. But the relatives of the suitors want to kill Odysseus. But Athena convinces all of them to live in peace.
Do you understand, class? Did you retain something from the video that you have watched? Okay, very good. So, who is the main character of the story or the video that you have watched? Okay, very good. The main character of the story is Odysseus. So, Odysseus is actually the main character of Odyssey. Okay, so before we delve deeper into our lesson, I'm going to give you first the objectives of our lesson. So at the end of the discussion, the student or you, the student, should be able to gain a deeper understanding on the epic poem Odyssey. Second, you should be able to learn about the details of Odysseus' trials to return home. And lastly, you should be able to appreciate the importance of cunning and intelligence in overcoming obstacles. So, okay, let's start now our discussion. Now, let's proceed to the characters of the story Odyssey. First, we have Odysseus. Odysseus, he is the main protagonist of our story, the Odyssey. So he is the king of Ithaca who is trying to go home after the Trojan War. Next we have Penelope. Penelope is the wife of Odysseus. She was being courted by many suitors upon the absence of Odysseus. Next we have Telemachus. So Telemachus, he is the son of Odysseus and Penelope. Now we have also Athena. Athena is the god of wisdom. She helped Odysseus during his journey. She is also the one who helped Telemachus to find clues about his father Odysseus. Next, we have also Poseidon. Poseidon, he is the god of the sea. The son, his son Polyphemus also is one of the characters of our story. And next we have Alcinous. Alcinous, or King Alcinous, is actually the ruler of Phaeacians, which will be discussed later on also of what is the role or what is his role in the life of Odysseus. Next we have Zeus. So Zeus, we all are familiar with him. Zeus is the god of thunder. Next we have Hermes. So Hermes is the god of, or the messenger god. Then next we have Calypso. Calypso, he is the lovesick nymph who locked up Odysseus in the island of Ogygia. Okay class, so as I have said earlier, Odysseus or Odyssey has 24 books, and because it is too long, what I'm going to share to you is actually the summary of it. And it started in the middle of things. So when I say in the middle of things, we will be start our discussion on the part where Odysseus and Calypso met. So Odysseus was washed up in that island, Ogygia, where a lovesick nymph named Calypso lived, and Calypso didn't want to free Odysseus because she loved him. Calypso even offered Odysseus an immortality in exchange for his love. But then Odysseus knows that desiring the things that only the god should have is wrong. That is why he didn't accept what Calypso had offered him. Calypso was so broken-hearted at that time because who doesn't want immortality, right? But Odysseus is so loyal to his wife Penelope, and he wanted to be with his family. Athena, on the other hand, lamented the fate of Odysseus in that island. That is why the goddess Athena decides to intervene on Odysseus' behalf. She convinces Zeus to send Hermes, the messenger god, to disentangle Odysseus from Calypso's grasp, and she herself flies to Ithaca to give courage and guidance to the helpless young prince Telemachus. I have said earlier that Athena helped Telemachus to find some clues about his father. Okay, so after that, when Hermes was on that island Ogygia, he talked to Calypso, but then Calypso was so enraged at what Hermes said that she even said that the Olympian gods was just so jealous about them, about her being happy. That's why they wanted to get Odysseus away from her. But then Calypso realized that she is no match with Zeus. That is why she freed Odysseus at last. Actually, she even gave him a boat. She even gave him food during his travel. And next, Odysseus then Odysseus then set sails, but then his boat was destroyed by Poseidon. You all know the story of Polyphemus, right? So Polyphemus is the son of Poseidon. Poseidon blinded Polyphemus. That is why Poseidon is so angered about Odysseus. That is why he is cursing him during his journey. Okay, so now, after being freed from Calypso's island by the help of Athena, he begins to set out from home. But then again, as I have said earlier, Poseidon destroyed his boat, for he was still angry at Odysseus for blinding his son Polyphemus. Okay? So Odysseus washes up in an island of the Phaeacians. Phaeacians. So in this island, the Phaeacia, the island of Phaeacia is being ruled by a very wise and hospitable king named King Alcinous. So King Alcinous accepted Odysseus wholeheartedly in his kingdom. He offered him drinks, food, and a place to stay. And he even invited Odysseus to take part on their festival in honor of the gods who fight in the Trojan War. But then, as the muses sang, Odysseus didn't help himself but to cry because in that song, or the song that the muses sang, is actually for Odysseus. That's why Odysseus started to cry because he feels like everything was still there. That he thinks that he was still in that war with his companions. He is so sad because his companions died and he was just the only survivor of that war and in that journey of them. So King Alcinous asked Odysseus what happened, why he was crying. That is why Odysseus identifies himself to be one of the heroes who fought in that Trojan War. They were so stunned about that. They were so stunned about Odysseus' bravery. So they promised to give him safe passage to Ithaca, but first they begged to hear the story of his crew, of all the things that they endured to set sails. So the king was so touched when Odysseus had finished narrating of what are the obstacles that they had encountered. So I'm just going to give you class the obstacles that Odysseus had encountered. They encountered first the lotus eaters. The next, they washed up in the island of the Cyclopes. They encountered the Cyclopes here. It is where Odysseus was trapped in a cave of Poseidon's son, Polyphemus, where they blinded him just for them to escape in that cave. Next, they again encountered the Laestrygonians. The Laestrygonian class is a giant people where Odysseus' companions was eaten by the Laestrygonians. Then next, they also encountered the Sirens. Then next, they they also they also encountered the goddess or the enchantress Circe. Okay, I'm not going to discuss to you class all of what happened to them in this journey because it is too long class. Then so after that, after Odysseus had narrated this story to King Alcinous, he was so touched, and as they promised, they gave him both and even wealth um, for him to be able to return to Ithaca safely. Okay, so Odysseus returns to Ithaca, where he seeks out the hand of his faithful swineherd Aeneas, though Athena has disguised as Odysseus as a beggar. So Odysseus wanted to test if his servants were still loyal to him. Luckily, Aeneas, his swineherd, um, had accepted him in his hut and even nourishes him, even though he disguises himself as a beggar. So, class, it is so loyal to Aeneas. Aeneas was so loyal to him. Then after that, Telemachus goes on the on the heart of Aeneas also to ask about his father, and luckily Odysseus and Telemachus met there. So it is where Telemachus um, tells his father what has happened to Ithaca. He tells Odysseus that Penelope was being courted by lots of men, by hundreds of men, that they are feasting on the wealth of Odysseus. So that suitors of Penelope doesn't actually is not actually in love with Penelope. They just wanted to get the kingdom. They just wanted to get the wealthiness of Odysseus. They wanted to be the ruler of Ithaca. But then Penelope um, didn't choose any of the suitors that she says that she will choose his new husband after she finishes um, weaving the burial shroud of Odysseus' father Laertes. But then Penelope tricked the suitors because Penelope was actually set aside her work at night. That is why when the suitors knows about the trickery of Penelope, in exchange for the trickery, they held a banquet every day until the until the wealth of Ithaca is gone. So, after hearing that, Odysseus was so angered about that matter. That is why Odysseus and Telemachus started to plot against the suitors. They plot on how to kill or how to get rid of the suitors, and the only way that um, they thought is to kill all of the suitors of Penelope. So after that, Telemachus and Telemachus and Odysseus goes to Ithaca together, where they started to plot against those suitors of Penelope. Odysseus still in disguise of a beggar, take part of the contest of where Penelope had prepared. This contest is prepared by Penelope herself because she wanted now to choose her new husband. But then none of the suitors had passed the contest. Odysseus, still in disguise as a beggar, take part of that contest where he had won. So after this, Penelope Penelope then Penelope is so curious the true um, about the true about the truth of the beggar Odyssey. Um, she is she's thinking of if it's his husband because the strength that Odysseus uses in that archery contest is the same as um, she saw of Odysseus. Then, so Penelope takes in an interest in this strange beggar, so suspecting that he might be her long lost husband. So, quite crafty herself, Penelope organizes another test for Odysseus. Then, so after that, Odysseus, after Odysseus had passed that contest, they then decided to kill all of the suitors of Penelope. So, do you understand, class? Are you still with me? Can you hear me at the back? Okay, so if you truly are listening to me, who is the loyal swineherd of Odysseus, who nourishes him and accepted him with hospitality? Okay, anyone, class? Okay, that's correct. It is Emmaus. So when Odysseus and Telemachus goes to Ithaca, what Odysseus used as a disguise for himself? Okay, very good, class. A beggar. I can see, class, that you are actually listening to me. So now let's proceed to the following action of our story. Okay, so as I have said earlier, Penelope takes an interest with the beggar who is actually Odysseus. That is why she sends another task for Odysseus. So Penelope has not seen her husband for many years. Do you know, class, that the Trojan War actually lasted 20 years? Okay, 20 years, class. The Trojan War ended 20 years after. Then, because Penelope has not seen her husband for many years, when Odysseus returned in disguise as a beggar, Penelope didn't recognize him because, as I have said again earlier, that Odysseus disguises himself as a beggar. So she tests Odysseus by ordering her servant Eurycleia to move their marriage bed. But then Odysseus gets angry, class. He gets angry because he explains that he built their bedroom around ancient olive tree and used the top of tree to make their bedpost. He is angry because he believes Penelope must have replaced this bed with a movable one. His anger and the fact that he knows the story of the bed proves his identity. Why, class? Because only Odysseus, Penelope, and one loyal servant named Eurycleia only knows the secret of the bed. So after Penelope had seen the anger on Odysseus' face, she rushes to her husband and hugged him tightly. So the resolution of our topic class is that Odysseus reveals himself to the entire palace and reunites with his loving Penelope. He travels to the outskirts of Ithaca to see his aging father Laertes. They actually came under the attack from the vengeful family of the members of the dead suitors, but Laertes, reinvigorated by his son's return, successfully kills Antinous' father and puts a stop to the attack. Zeus dispatches Athena to restore peace. So with his power, he secures and his family is reunited. Odyssey then regains his throne and he actually reunited with his family. That's the end of our lesson, class. Do you understand our topic, class? Do you understand our lesson? Okay, did you retain something from our lesson, class? Okay, so guys, please be honest. Do you understand? Okay, very good. So because you all understand our lesson, I'm going to give you an assignment and it is where I'm going to test if you really understood our lesson. So now we will proceed to the theme of our story. So the main theme of our lesson, class, is the cunningness and intelligence. Cunningness and intelligence was shown in all the parts where Odysseus overcomes all of his obstacles in life or during his journey. So the part is, first, I'm going to highlight the part where Odysseus and his men was trapped in the cave of Polyphemus. They drank all the wines of of Polyphemus rather. They made Polyphemus drunk for them to be able to escape that cave. They actually blinded Polyphemus. That is why they were able to escape the cave of Polyphemus. And the part where he uses his cunningness is that he tells Polyphemus that his name is actually nobody. That is why when Polyphemus asked for help to his brothers, and they asked Polyphemus who blinded him, and he actually answered nobody because Odysseus tells Polyphemus that his name is nobody. So when Odysseus and his men were already on the island or on the ocean rather to escape, he taunts Polyphemus that his name was not actually nobody, that his name was actually Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, the king who fought on the Trojan War. That is why Polyphemus tells his father to curse Odysseus during his journey. That is why in the first part, you'll be able to see that Poseidon is a part of the characters. Okay, that's all, class. So Cunningness and intelligence can be used both in negative and positive. It is actually it actually depends on the purpose, or it actually depends on what the character is uses it. So perseverance class is actually one also of the theme of our story. Perseverance. Perseverance class because if Odysseus didn't persevere to go home to Ithaca, he will not be able to reunite with his family, Telemachus and Penelope. So when you wanted to have something, when you want to achieve something in your life, you have to persevere to get it. But those who that not everyone who perseveres get what they wanted class. If you wanted to reach of that goal class, you have to take action. Okay, class? So if you wanted to graduate, if you wanted to be successful someday, you have to persevere on doing it. You have to be a perseverance. You have to have perseverance. That's all, class. So now do you understand, class? Okay, so I hope that you retain something from our lesson. I hope, class, that perseverance will be one of your steps in achieving your dreams. Okay, that's all. Goodbye. Thank you for your cooperation, class.